Good morning, everyone. Namaste. Let's get started today in a standing position. So come to the front of your mat, take your feet about hip width apart, turn your palms to face. Front of your mat, lift your chest, let your shoulder blades slide down your back, lift up through the crown of your head, and then take a moment to see if you can feel that weightless, upright feeling. Almost as if there was a thread attached to the crown of your head, reaching up to the center of the sky. And you were suspended from that thread, so you might even be able to feel yourself move a little bit on your axis in all directions without losing that feeling of being upright and lifting through the spine. And go ahead and relax your hands. You can open your eyes. I'm going to start by rolling out the neck, rolling out the head, and then switch directions. All right, then bring your hands to your shoulders. Some forward circles with the elbows. Make some backward circles. And then alternating right, left. You can add a little rotation for the trunk, a little twist. Just keep your feet fixed. And then backward circles. Forward, and we'll go forward with the right, backward with the left. If this feels a little awkward for you at first, don't worry about it, just keep practicing, you'll get it eventually. And then switch directions. Fingers together, we'll roll out the wrist, nice and slow, build some heat in the wrist joint, really focus on the movement. It's easy to get kind of mindless with this one. Then switch directions. To your hips, make some circles with the hips. And then switch directions. Neutral, shift your weight onto your right leg. Pick up the left leg and make some circles with the hips. You can bring your hands out to the sides or in front of you for stabilization. Just circumducting the leg in the hip socket, and then switch directions. And then switch legs. Switch directions. Use your drishti. Switching back into the right leg. Roll out the ankle. On the left foot. Switch directions. Good, and then switch to your left foot. Roll out the right ankle. So take your feet a little wider than your hips, bring your hands to touch, prayer position. Anjali Mudra, close your eyes. Take a moment to check in with your intention for class today. What do you need from your practice to help bring you into a state of balance, a state of harmony? And then taking a moment to check in with your longer term intention. Where do you hope the practice will take you in the long run? And trusting that this practice will serve your highest intention. We'll seal that intention, set the context for the rest of practice by chanting the Gayatri Mantra 3 times. Om Bhurbhuvat Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvat Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvat Svaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om. Slowly opening your eyes. So release your hands down alongside your hips. Turn your palms to face the front of your mat. And then on your inhalation, lift your chest, turn your palms up toward the ceiling, roll your elbows forward, bend your knees, come in this back bending shape. Look up, but try to keep the back of your neck long. Take a couple breaths here. And then on your exhalation, bend your knees even more, draw your low belly in and round your back, maybe wrapping your hands around the back of your knees, taking a lot of flexion in the spine. Then on your next inhalation, come up, and we'll move back and forth between these two shapes. Remembering to roll your elbows forward, creating that external rotation in your shoulders, and each time you forward fold on the exhale, suck that low belly below the navel back toward the spine. And the next time you exhale, forward fold. Release your hands down toward the mat. Release the crown of your head. We'll take a couple breaths here, starting to open up through the back of the leg line, letting the low back traction out. Bend your knees to protect your low back. Maybe after a couple of breaths, you can take a little bend out of the knees. All right, then on your next exhalation, let's step the left foot back. We'll come into a runner's lunge. Bring both hands to the inside of your right foot. We'll make some circles with the hips. And then switch direction. Good, and then shifting onto your left hand. Take a twist to your right. Reach your right hand up. And then on your next inhalation, extend your hand over your ear. Try to keep the feeling of that twist, the chest opening up toward your right. And then inhale back up toward the ceiling. Good. All right, then on your next inhalation, reach your hand forward. And then exhale, extend up with the right hand, rather. Sorry. Keep moving that way. Each time you inhale, reach forward with the right hand. Each time you exhale, twist a little deeper and reach up for the sky. Alright, exhale your right hand down outside your right foot. Step your back foot up to meet the front foot. Inhale, half lift.
Exhale, both hands down to the mat. Step your left foot back, right foot back this time rather. Bring both hands to the inside of your left foot. Make some circles with your hips. All right, switch directions. Keeping the right hand planted. Find your twist to the left, left hand extends. And then on your inhalation, reach your left hand over your ear, wrap your heart to the left, reach, reach, reach. And then exhale, twist a little deeper. And then adding that breath connected movement, inhaling, extending, exhaling, twisting. Keep moving with your own breath. On your next exhalation, left hand comes down outside the left foot, step back into plank pose. Shoulders over the wrists, charge up the legs, tuck the tailbone under slightly. Feel those muscles over the pubic bone, engage, flatten out against the pubic bone. Feel the strength of the pose radiating out from the core body, below the navel, the low back. Continue breathing. And then on your exhalation, let's lower down with control. Elbows stay tucked in, either in plank or knees, chest, chin, all the way down to the belly. All right, palms come down alongside your hips. Hands come down alongside your hips. Turn your palms up. Inhale, lift your head, lift your chest. Exhale, lower down. Keep moving this way. Each time you inhale, lifting the head and the chest. Each time you exhale, lower down. Bringing both palms down, flat on the mat, curl your toes under, and on your next exhalation, press yourself back up through your table into your downward facing dog. First downward facing dog of the day, press down through the index fingers and thumb. You can shift around if you like, pedal out your feet, move your hips side to side a little bit. Just start to greet those spots in your body that are calling out to you. Probably familiar with a lot of them. Continue breathing. Maybe there's some new voices in there today. All right, and then at the bottom of your next exhalation, let's go ahead and walk your feet up toward your hands. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up.
Exhale, mountain pose. All right, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold, hinge at the hips, bend your knees. Inhale, half lift, find your flat back. And on your exhalation, step or hop back into plank and lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. At the bottom of your next exhalation, pause the breath. Step or hop your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Exhale, mountain pose. All right, let's keep moving that way. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or hop back into plank and lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale here, and at the bottom of your next exhalation, pause the breath and step or hop your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Exhale, mountain pose. Last time. Inhale. Exhale. Half lift. Fold.
mat and lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. So let's stay here in this dog. Take a few breaths. And then when you're breathing to stabilize, we're going to bear walk a few steps forward and back off your mat. So when you're ready, opposite hand, opposite leg, keep your tailbone lifted. Move slowly. And then, once you've walked a few steps off your mat, let's go ahead and back up onto your mat so you can return to your dog. May feel a little awkward at first if you're new to the movement, don't worry about it. And let's do it one more time. So when you're ready, opposite hand, opposite leg. Keep lifting the tailbone. Legs and arms stay relatively straight. Draw the low belly in and up. Good, and then returning back to your downward facing dog. Let's take a few breaths here. So from your downward facing dog, on your next inhalation, pick up your right leg. If you want to bend through the knees, stack the hips. Go ahead, take a little movement here if it feels good. And then leveling out the hips on your exhalation, right knee to right elbow, shift the shoulders forward. Inhale, down dog kick. Exhale, right knee toward the chin, shift forward. Inhale, down dog kick. Exhale, right knee, left elbow. Inhale, down dog kick. Exhale, step the right foot through inside of the right thumb. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. Lifting the chest, sinking the hips. Let's bring both arms out to the side. Cross your left arm over your right. And we'll move into Garuda arms with the hands. Press your fingers up towards the ceiling. Lift your chest. Drop your shoulder blades down your back. Continue breathing. Good, then unwinding your arms. Let's bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. We'll take a prayer twist to your right. The left arm crosses over the right thigh. Strong back leg, lifting the chest. Continue breathing. Good, then unwinding. Let's bring the left hand down to the mat, and we'll step back into Vashisthasana on the left. So right hand extends, lift the hips, maybe reach the right arm over your right ear toward the front of your mat. Continue breathing. And then on your exhalations, go ahead and return to plank. Inhale, the shoulders over the wrist. Exhale, lower down, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. And on your next inhalation, lift your left leg high, bend through the knee. Stack the hips. And then leveling out the hips. On your exhalation, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, down dog kick. Exhale, knee to chin. Inhale, down dog kick. Exhale, forward, knee to right elbow. Inhale, kick. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, rise up, high lunge. Bring both hands out to the side. This time we'll cross right over left. Garuda arms. Breathing here. And then unwinding your arms. Bring your palms together in prayer position. We'll take a prayer twist to your left. Press your palms together. Lift the chest. Continue breathing. Unwind, bring your right hand down underneath your right shoulder. Step your left foot back, Vashisthasana, side plank on the right. Good, then on your exhalation, bring your left hand down, find your plank pose, shoulders over the wrists. Exhale, lower down with control. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Good, then when you're ready, we'll take another bear walk. So opposite hand, opposite leg. Walk forward off your mat. And then walk backward. Find your dog. And when you're ready, another bear walk. Keep the tailbone lifted. Keep breathing. Don't have to look forward, it gets a little hard on the neck. If you do, a little easier to look back toward your toes. And then return to your downward facing dog. Inhale over the wrists, elbows stay tucked in as you lower down all the way to the mat with control. Bring the tops of your feet down to the mat. Exhale, right hand comes out to the side, roll to the right in your mouth. Inhale back to center. Exhale, left hand out to the side. Roll to the left knee mount. Keep moving with your own breath. Try to make the inhalations and the exhalations last about the same amount of time. Once you've completed an equal number in both directions, let's come back to center. Bring your elbows down onto the mat, forearms two, set up for Sphinx, lift up through the crown of your head. Good, and then from here, extend your right hand forward, 10th of fingers, extend your left hand forward, 10th of fingers, lift up. Then right hand comes back, right forearm comes back. Left forearm comes back, and then from here, curl your toes under, lift your hips, forearm plank. All right. Bring your right hand down to your mat, left hand down to your mat, return to plank pose. And then right forearm comes down, left forearm comes down, lower your hips, Sphinx pose, lift up. Watch your breathing. Extending your left fingers out in front of you. Right fingers, modified Sphinx, lift up. The left forearm comes back, right forearm comes back. Inhale the hips up, forearm plank. Exhale, left hand down to the mat, right hand down to the mat, plank pose. Left forearm comes down, right forearm comes down, lower the hips, return to Sphinx pose. Continue breathing. Bring your right knee out to the side, bending at the hip, the knee, and the ankle at 90 degrees. Lift up. And then switching sides. Left knee comes out to the side. Find that 90-degree bend at the hip, the knee, and the ankle, and lift up. Not only feel some lengthening through the inner leg line, you might feel some lengthening through the front of the hip flexor on the right side, belly. Good. And then returning back to your neutral Sphinx, lower down into your belly. Weave your fingers together behind the low back. Inhale, head, chest, knees, feet off the ground, modified Sphinx pose. Roll the shoulders from the front body onto the back body. Continue breathing. Face stays relaxed. Back of the neck is long. Exhale, lower back down onto the mat. Bring your palms down flat on the mat with the heels of the hands down by your lower ribs. Curl your toes under. Lift your knees up off the mat, and on your exhalation, press yourself right up into plank and shift your hips back for downward facing dog. bottom of your next exhalation, step your right foot outside of your right hand. So maybe right at the edge of your mat or even outside of your mat a little bit like mine is. And then from here, shift your weight onto your left hand. So pick up your right hand off of the mat and see if you can step your left foot through. So extend the left leg out in front of you. And then on your exhalation, draw your left foot back and return to downward facing dog. All right, on your next exhalation, step your left foot outside of your left hand. Shift your weight onto your right hand. Step your right foot through. Few breaths here. Flex your foot over the heel, and then turning back to downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna keep moving in this way with the breath. So on your next exhalation, step your right foot forward, and then inhale your left leg through. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take an inhale here. Exhale, left foot forward. Inhale, right leg extends. Exhale, downward facing dog. Just keep moving this way with your own breath a few times on your own. Once you've done both sides an equal number of times, return to your downward facing dog. Bend your knees, walk your hands back towards your feet. Take your feet a little bit wider than your hips if you like, and sit down for malasana, deep squat. Garland pose, lift your chest. You can bring your palms to Anjali Mudra if you like, or you can allow your hands to rest down on the mat. Watch your breathing. And then from here, we're going to take a few Frogger hops toward the front of your mat. So bring your palms down flat on the mat, shift your weight forward on your hands, and then lift your feet and slide them forward. Keep moving this way. Continue with your breathing. And you can even go a little bit past your mat. And then when you've gone as far forward as you're going to go, bring your hands down, press your feet back, Frogger hop backward toward the back of your mat. Right, once you return to your malasana, your deep squat at the back of your mat, let's go ahead and bring your hands down to the mat. And on your next exhalation, bring your right knee down to the mat, pivot your feet a little bit, and then inhale back into your deep squat. Exhale, left knee comes down, pivot your foot. Inhale, deep squat. Let's keep moving that way with your breath. A lot of movement, take breaks as you need. If the quality of the movement or your breath starts to degrade, slow down, take a pause. If this is easy for you, take your hands up, equation. Once you've done both sides an equal number of times, let's set up for crow pose. Knees come up high into the armpits. Bring your palms down flat on the mat. Lift your feet up off the ground. Take a few breaths here. If you have tripod headstand in your locker or a tripod, bring your head down to the mat. Shift your weight onto the crown of the head. Asalam Shasana. Breathe in here. Or you can set up for the supported variation of headstand. We'll be here for about 8 breaths. whichever variation of headstand you're in. Start to make your way back down to the mat. If you are working with the Asalamba variation, you can practice returning to your crow and then lowering back down into your malasana at the back of the mat, wherever you're at. Let's meet at the back of the mat. Straighten your legs, bend your knees enough that you can hook your peace fingers and your thumb around your big toe. Release the crown of your head. Breathing here. Good, and then release the bind, take your feet a little wider again. Do one more round of Frogger. So return to your deep squat. Bring your hands down to the mat, shift your weight forward. Maybe this time practice lifting your hips a little higher each time as you move forward. You may catch a little hang time. If you're proficient at this, you may be able to come to a handstand. And then once you reach the front of your mat, take a few breaths here in your deep squat. Good. And then from here, let's come down onto our bottoms. Bring your hands to the back of your knees. Shift onto your sacrum. Lift your chest. Navasana. Extend your arms, extend your legs if you can keep your chest lifted. Continue breathing. Good, and then from here, cross your right leg over your left. Sit up nice and tall. Exhale, forward fold, Sukhasana. A modified yoga mudra. Continue breathing, extend your hands. All right, inhale back up, Navasana one more time. Build your boat. And then crossing left over right, sit up nice and tall. Exhale, forward fold. Extend the arms. Release the forehead. Lengthening out of the hips, the low back. All right, inhaling back up. Let's come down onto your back. We're going to practice coming up to standing a couple of different ways. So on your next exhalation, just rock your feet back a little bit toward Halasana. And then on your inhalation, roll forward. Tuck your left leg behind your right leg so the sole of your right foot comes down and the outside of your left shin comes down to the mat. And then exhale, come back. Switch to the other side. Left foot comes forward. Right foot slightly behind. And just keep moving this way. And then maybe after a couple of rounds, you'll find that on the inhalation, you might be able to rock yourself up to stand. Come down the same way you came up. And see if you can improve the quality of the repetition with each movement. Once you're done, both sides an equal number of times. When you rock forward, let's go ahead and come forward into Dandasana, staff pose. Lift your chest, let your shoulder blades drop down through your back. Flex your feet, and watch your breathing. All right, on your exhalation, go ahead and forward fold. Paschimottanasana. Grab for your feet, Take a couple breaths here. And then we're going to repeat that action, this time moving towards a pistol squat variation. So on your exhalation, you're going to rock back. This time, when you come forward, just bend your right foot, bring the sole of your right foot down to the mat, and maybe push yourself up onto your hands a little bit, extending the left leg forward. And then exhale back. Inhale forward, switch sides. Just go ahead and hoist yourself up. And then keep moving this way. And maybe after a couple of rounds, you can use your hands, or maybe not use your hands, and press yourself up to stand. Careful on the knees. And once you've done both sides an equal number of times, let's rock back towards your plow pose. Bend your knees. Breathe here. When you're ready, let's go ahead and come forward. We're going to take what we call a 90-90 position on your mat. So bring your right shin parallel to the short edge of your mat. Bring your left shin parallel to the long edge of your mat. And then from here, we're going to step your left foot in front of your right shin. Bring both hands down onto the mat and pivot through the low squat to return to that 90-90 shape on the other side. So your right foot's going to step back. Still got the 90-90 shape with my legs. And then right foot comes forward. Bring your hands down onto the mat. Pivot up onto your feet. Spin around. Right shin comes down, left shin comes back, 90-90 on the other side. So it may feel a little awkward at first. Once you step your left foot forward on the first side, just keep spinning in that direction. Left knee comes down, right leg swings back, 90-90. So you're going to work off your mat a little bit. Keep working on it, you'll get it. Combination of a lot of the things that we've worked on so far today. Maybe you find that as you gain proficiency with the movement, you can take your hands out. Focus becomes making each repetition a little smoother than the last. All right, once you return back to your first side, let's bring your palms down flat on the mat. Step back into downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, we'll finish with some back bending. So bring your knees down to the mat, find your camel pose or set up for camel pose, come to standing on the knees. Bring your hands down to your low back, turn your thumbs out to the side before you start to enter your back bend. Shift your weight back until you feel the muscles over your pubic bone engage, and then lift the chest,
Roll the elbows back toward one another. Keep the neck long, front and the back. Maybe sliding the hands down the back of the legs. Maybe bringing the hands to the heels. Lift your chest. Roll your shoulders from your front body onto your back body. Press the pelvis forward. Lift, lift, lift. Extend. Breathe. Good. Then on your inhalation, come forward. We'll sit back down into Vajrasana, or if it feels okay on your knees, sit in Virasana between your feet, taking your feet a little wider. Reach the right arm up, left arm back. Grab onto something. If it's not your hand, grab your shirt or strap. Take a few breaths here. All right, inhale, come on back up. Camel pose, last time. Bend your knees, shift your weight back, pubic bone engages, lift the chest. Reach back, maybe sliding the hands down the legs. Maybe hands come to heels. Breathe, breathe, breathe. All right, then inhaling forward. Sit in your Vajrasana on your heels, or maybe bring your heels together. Sit back in Virasana, left arm extends, right arm reaches back. Cow face arms. Continue breathing. All right, releasing both hands down to the mat. We'll move back towards Supta Virasana or Supta Vajrasana. So make sure you have a little room behind you. And start to walk your hands back. Maybe you can come down on your forearms. Maybe this is enough for you. Maybe you can lower your head down onto the mat. Wherever you're at, continue breathing. You can bring your shoulder blades down onto the mat. And then from here, let's go ahead and come on back up. Use the strength of your arms. Walk your hands forward. Press yourself back into downward facing dog. Lengthen out the back of your legs any way that feels good to you. And then see if you can suck your low belly into your spine. Puff out your low back a little bit. I'm going to stabilize in the core after the back bending. And when you're ready, let's come forward into seated. We'll set up for shoulder stand. So for shoulder stand, hands are flat on the mat, feet are flat on the mat to start. Pick your feet up, extend your feet up toward the ceiling. Bring your hands to the low back, walk your elbows in. Press up through the ball mounts of your feet. Breathe in here, try not to turn your head. And once you've taken 8 to 10 breaths in the shape, you can start to transition back to halasana, toward plow, hinging at the hips. Keep lifting the tailbone. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and transition back through shoulder stand, onto your back. If you're familiar with the variation for dropping into bridge pose, you can bring the heels of your hands into your low back. Fingers come around the side body, pointing up toward the ceiling. And then slowly, with control, lower down, feet touch. And if you're familiar with the transition, go ahead and give it a try. Otherwise, just press yourself up into bridge. Take a few breaths here in bridge pose. You can work your forearms or your hands underneath your low back to find the supported variation if you like. Good, and then from here, we'll go ahead and lower down all the way to the mat. Cross your left leg over your right. Double cross your legs if it feels okay. Take root arms as well. So we'll cross the right arm in front of the left. Then we'll cross the arms. Garudra crunch. Press your left forearm or your left elbow into your left thigh. Squeeze your abdominals in and back towards your spine. Tuck your chin. Release your head, release your shoulder blades, release your arms. Pick your hips up, shift them over to the left. Use your right hand to guide your knees over to the right. Garuda twist, supine Garuda twist. And take your eye gaze towards your left hand. Maybe reach your left arm overhead if it feels good to have the length instead of the width. Lengthening out that side body. Coming back through center, we'll shift to the other side. So bring your hips back to the middle of the mat, cross your right leg over your left, maybe double crossing your right leg, and then left arm over your right arm, double crossing the arms as well. Pick up your head, your shoulder blades, tuck your chin, pick up your feet, press the right elbow into the right thigh, and breathe here. Slowly lower down, feet touch, arms unwind, pick up your hips, shift your hips over to the right, guide your knee over to the left, extend the arms, maybe reach the right arm overhead. If it feels good, just let that right shoulder and shoulder blade combo be heavy. Feel that separation between your right hip and your low ribs on the right side. It's creating that length in the belly, rib cage. Continue breathing. And then when you're ready, let's go ahead and set yourself up for Shavasana, corpse pose. I'm probably only going to stay here for about a minute or two. So if you want to stay longer, feel free to pause the video before you lay down. If you have the time, stay here as long as you like. And then when you're ready to restart the video, after corpse pose, we'll move on to some pranayama. So settle down in your corpse pose once you're ready. And just allow yourself to enjoy the space you've created with your body, your breath, and your attention.
to exit your corpse pose, start by deepening your breathing, making your inhalations a little more full and your exhalations a little more complete. And then start small with your movements, maybe fingers, toes, wrists, ankles, until you're ready to roll onto one side or the other, using the strength of your arms. Press yourself back up to a comfortable seat. So set yourself up so that you can sit with a relatively neutral upright spine. If that means adding some height underneath your hips in the form of a block or a bolster, go ahead and do so. And once you find your comfortable seat, check to make sure you're balanced on your sits bones. Shift a little side to side. Let your belly relax. Find that slight anterior curve of your low back. Lift your chest slightly. Let your shoulder blades slide down your back. Chin is going to be slightly tucked. Eyes are closed or lids are lowered with the eye gaze relaxed. And bring the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Call this Nava Mudra. And bring your attention to your breath as it enters and exits at the tip of your nostrils. Not doing anything to modify your breathing right now, so let go of your Ujjayi pranayama or any special breathing techniques and just observe your breath as it enters and exits. Through the tip of your nose, noticing the sensations, noticing any differences between the inhalations and the exhalations. On your next inhalation, add a silent count and make your inhalations and exhalations last for the same count. So if you inhale for a count of 6, exhale for a count of 6. If you inhale for a count of 10, exhale for a count of 10. And just try to make it consistent, not creating any strain in the body, but just balancing out the inhalations and the exhalations. Once you complete the round that you're currently on, release the technique, release the count, just return to your normal breathing. And now bringing your attention to your mind. Just start to notice the various things that your attention is attracted to. Could be sensations in the body, could be sounds in your environment, could be ideas that are persistent in your head, thoughts, memories, feelings. And we're going to sit for a few minutes in what we call open awareness. So every time that you feel your attention latching onto something and hanging onto it, just notice that it's happened. See if you can release that particular focal point of attention and return to an open state of awareness where you're just allowing your attention to drift freely through the field of your awareness. And noticing each time your attention comes to a focal point, and then letting that go and returning to your state of open awareness. Bringing your palms together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra at the level of your heart. Let's take one final moment to enjoy the peace that you've created through your practice of yoga today. Close by chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace for ourselves, peace for our communities, peace for all beings everywhere. Namaste. Thanks for sharing your practice today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment field below. If there's any types of videos that you want to see or any things you want to work on, let me know. And I hope everyone has an awesome day. We'll see you again soon.